Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, DJ Adam Cruz, and I have my fantastic co-host right here.
Eddie Nicholas, what up, beautiful people? So glad that you can join us today at freedomradiohour.com. What is going on, Mr. Cruz?
Oh, my gosh. Well, there's so much in the latest saga regarding the illegal reproduction of music. We're going to break it all down. But let's take a moment and let our listeners and our viewers know that the Freedom Radio Hour is here, not only giving you fantastic music, but we're here to be your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. All right, and we're live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at dwildmusicradio.com. First out of the gate is all this news that's happening with Amazon. Remember?
What is Amazon doing? Because when you start talking about all of these companies, we remember when they were just little small entities. Now they're growing to be these big juggernauts.
Yes, they were so small. Well, we're going to go down memory lane. So, with Amazon, very, very recently, we covered on this show that they've been into buying things. For example, Amazon was the very last holdout, signing an exclusive deal with Garth Brooks, one of the biggest country music stars. Okay. But we, doing our research here, figured out that while they're interested in signing Garth Brooks and having music available, that's why they launched a streaming service, they're really after selling a physical product. They want to sell this Echo speaker system. It's like a Bose system, but you can stream all of the Amazon music, but you could stream it for $3.99 a month. So that is a
$3.99.
Yes. So it's cutting us off at the knees. Remember how we talked about the implications when the pricing starts to decrease over time? Spotify is at that base at $10 a month. And then Tidal, with their high definition service, you could elect to pay $20 a month. Well, now Amazon, they're ready to cut the competition more than half by offering it at $3.99 a month if you buy this physical system, this Echo speaker system.
So in order to get the deal, the discount,
yes, because
you have to get the system.
Yes, because without the system, the prices are comparable to Spotify. There's a $10.99 and a $7.99.
And how much is this system going for, if you don't mind me asking?
We don't know the particulars, but we understand that one of the pricing points was at the $199 price point, et cetera, et cetera.
With taxing $200 and something dollars.
And Amazon is smart because they took and learned the lessons without going through the experience that we did in the record business. You see, in the record business, back when digital music first came about, there was no real online retailer that became the leader then. So iTunes came about and became the leader in online retailers for digital downloads. But you know that iTunes wasn't after trying to be the leader in online retail. They were trying to sell their iPod, iPad, iPhone, whatever.
Everything
Yes.
And the operative word.
Thank you. That's very much the operative word. So essentially what happened was that Amazon, like an iTunes, has become the online retailer. Right around now, we have the holiday season upon us. Amazon.com is the go-to place. They are arguably the biggest online retailers, selling. Right now, currently, they offer 480 million different items for sale on their website.
Well, they probably sell kitchen sinks, too.
Everything, music, electronics, everything. So it's become the go-to place for ordering, especially now we're in the holiday season.
And a lot of people like to do things. I'm not one, but a lot of people like to do things online. So
yes, and now with the advent of that, there's a lot to be said about what happens with music when you enter the online space. In particular, we want to talk about what's happened with Amazon. Recently, like I told you, they've been in the news with the Echo speaker system, their deal with Garth Brooks, but now they're in the news for an entirely different reason, and it's all around these counterfeit items. You see, with Amazon offering 480 million items on their website, 15% of it is music.
Okay.
So it's a big chunk of their overall inventory is music related. So, of course, while we have to deal with counterfeit items all throughout history. This one is very special because it really kind of throws everything we thought was safe and secure out the window. You see, when the phonograph came through, we had bootleggers that would take copies of vinyl and make stuff, and they would illegally reproduce it. When the tape came out, you could put a tape and take it to a concert, a little tape recorder, and tape your concert live and then make copies and sell it. We know that because you go to the barber shop or the local business and you would see CDs and tapes and such for sale that you know were done in an illegal
manner.
way. Yes, very much so. So
bootleg.
Yes, and no matter what we try to do as an industry, the RIAA, that Recording Industry Association, they tried forever in different ways to combat bootlegging. You know, when CDs came out, there was the idea that you could take CDs and rip it, so there were security measures placed on it, and that didn't stop bootlegging. Even today, we talk about stream ripping, the latest phenomenon where you could just take a YouTube clip, put it to a central website, and then it spits out a little clip you can keep on your desktop for free. So, of course, in all this going on, none of the artists nor the labels are getting paid.
Compensated, exactly.
No. So Amazon has been in trouble because the RIAA, and realizing how much content and items are being sold on that website, wanted to conduct their own study. So they went and they ordered 194 CDs online at Amazon.com. When it arrived, guess how much of those items were not legitimate?
Ooh, I would say about 15% of it.
44 out of the 194 CDs were considered counterfeit.
What is that? Isn't it
That's
30?
not bad. You're not bad with your percentage.
Okay.
So too much of it was considered to be counterfeit. We got to break down some of the terminology around this so you're better informed about what things mean and what it means for Amazon and for us in the music business. Let's take a break right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM, the heartbeat of the day.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people, and welcome to 91.6 FM, freedomradiohour.com, y'all. We're so glad that you're still tuned in with us, and I'm sitting up here with my cohort and my partner in crime, the one and only Mr.
Adam Cruz, and we're live and direct on the Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at dwopmusicradio.com. So before we broke, we were talking about the never-ending saga that is illegal reproduction of music. Oh, I almost dropped my mic because I'm too excited to give you this news.
We'll give it to us. Give it to us.
So basically, Amazon has recently been trying to acquire different things like this exclusive deal with Garth Brooks, even though the other streaming services are kind of bowing out of their exclusive model because they realize there's not enough money in it for them. But Amazon still try to do it. Well, we know that the backstory on Amazon is that they're trying to sell a gadget. That's a speaker system called Echo. And so they undercut the streaming competition by more than half by offering through their streaming service, which is brand spanking new, for $3.99 a month, and their little speaker system, you can stream endlessly. The other thing is that it's voice command. I didn't tell you that before. So I guess you could say, play Eddie Nicholas Shake, and it'll play it right.
But don't most of these phones already have that type of capacity?
Well, I guess if this is for like your home or something, I envision. So if you're like doing your dishes, you can go play, whatever.
And it comes up.
Yes. So you don't have to mess with touching anything. So that's their angle. So they're learning the lessons from Apple. Initially, when digital music came up, they made it possible for them to be the leader in online digital download retail, except they were after selling iPods and iPads, etc. But now with Amazon, they're in trouble because they're dealing with the illegal reproduction of music unbeknownst to them. You see, the RIAA...
Okay, back up. What do you mean unbeknownst to who?
They're saying they had no idea that... Here, let me explain it. Let me give you the
Amazon
detail.
is saying that they had no idea?
Yeah,
Ooh.
if I give you the argument, maybe you can agree with them and say you can see where they're coming from.
Okay.
So we're talking about counterfeit items that are ending up on the Amazon.com website.
Okay.
Right now, it's holiday season. Everybody's buying their items, especially music, which comprises 15% of their more than 480 million items that are currently available for sale. So what's happening now is the RIAA did their investigation, a study, if you will. They ordered 194 CDs from the Amazon.com website. It arrived, and out of those 194 CDs, 44 of them were
Which is
counterfeit.
a large amount.
Yes.
That's
counterfeit.
almost half.
Well, let's break this down a little bit for those that don't understand. When we say counterfeit, that's one category. You see, the illegal reproduction of music can be broken down into three main categories.
Break them down.
Piracy, bootlegging, and counterfeiting. Okay, so piracy is the illegal copying and selling of music. But with piracy, they don't bother to make it look like the original package or anything. They might just take an image of a pop star.
Now, with piracy, is that also transmission?
Well, yes, but we're talking about in the context of CDs, because the story we're covering is about Amazon's inability to manage the counterfeit CDs that they're selling from the website. So Amazon is basically one of the categories, like I'm telling you, with illegal reproduction is piracy. That's the illegal copy and selling of music. That much we know. But with piracy, they don't really bother to give you the original content or the fancy package just like the real thing.
Okay.
They'll just slap something on like an image of an artist, and sometimes they'll make up their own little compilations. It's not something that was previously released. They'll just find a bunch of songs and put it on one CD, sell it on the street, bootleg style like that. So that's piracy. And now we're just talking about CDs for the moment. The second category is bootlegging. That's the same thing. They're also copying and selling music without authorization, just like in piracy, except with bootlegging, you're copying, say, a concert, a live performance, or a broadcast performance, and you're copying and selling that. Like, that's the equivalent of somebody taking their camera and pointing it at a TV of a special on TV and then copying and selling that. Or being at a concert, you buy from like somebody selling bootleg films, you'll buy it, and sometimes they'll be in the theater and you'll hear the audience laughing along with the track and stuff. That's really considered bootlegging. And so that's taking a live performance or broadcast performance, copy and selling that. Now, the third item is what we really want to talk about tonight, which is counterfeiting. That's, again, copying and selling the music without authorization, just like the other two, except...
But representing it as it's the real thing.
Yes, it's very much the original content.
The packaging.
Everything.
And the only thing, you have to be astute, because there may just be a little packaging and a blur of the word or something, but we as the average customer, we don't think that. We got it for a good deal. It was on sale on Amazon, and we take Amazon for being legitimate.
Right, and Amazon is basically arguing that very point that you just said so astutely, which is we can't tell fake from real at this point, because like bootlegging has come along with the advent of new ways that we listen to music, so has the technology, so has the way that things have been copied and reproduced. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about not just illegal production of music, but we want to talk about what the role of the promoter these days are. On DJs and promoters, I'm talking to you. We'll break it down next.
On 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sudan.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back live on Capital Radio, 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sudan. And on the web at dwildmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. I was giving you the number one sign and the peace sign all in one. Anyway, before we broke, we were breaking down all the goings-on with illegal reproduction of music these days. You see, Amazon is under fire because the RIAA, that's the Recording Industry Association, they basically did their own study, ordered a bunch of CDs from the website at Amazon.com. When it came, there was a significant percentage of the music that was counterfeit. How did they know? Well, they had their people on the inside look with their discerning eye to be able to detect these items. Amazon, of course, last we broke, we were talking about Eddie's retort, which was very astute, which is, we can't tell fake from real. If you're Amazon, this is what they were arguing. And they had a valid point, because much like the way in which bootlegging has developed in terms of technology of it, you also have the inability for people to tell, especially if you're a retailer, Amazon being the biggest. How can you tell fake from real? Let's break down this just a little bit further. There are three categories in which the counterfeit material came from, sourced from. What do you think the three sources were?
Well, one has to be live performance.
No, but let's not break it down to that, bro. Let's think about locations.
Well, my mind's too tired to go through all that.
All right, so check it out.
Give it to
The
me.
first is that they're saying is China. China is one of the biggest exports of illegal material, especially around this pirated CDs.
We'll see.
I know. The second item is Russia. They're saying Russia is another big exporter. The third is Amazon itself.
And that I can believe, because I was getting ready to say, I can see a company like that doing something like that because they already have access to the material.
Right.
And it's just a matter of reproducing and, as we're saying, counterfeiting, as in copying, like the Louis Vuitton bags and the little counterfeit $20 bills and all of that type of stuff. So,
and especially when you think about music, when you can't fight against the bootleg and the piracy. It's been around forever, like we've been talking about. And right now, you're relegated to believe, if you're an artist or DJ, that somebody's taking your items and you use it as promotion. I mean, how else can you look at it, since you can't fight against it? At least you can think, well, if somebody listens to the CD that they bought and it has my music, at least they'll learn, who is Adam Cruz or who is Eddie Nicholas? That's about the only recourse we have left to kind of grab onto. And it leaves me with thinking about the role of the promoter right now. If you could think about it, the promoter back then, I'm talking about maybe the heyday of the 80s and 90s, the promoter was kind of divided into these two folks. There was like the flyer distributor, and then there was the legitimate promoter that was kind of more advanced. Maybe the person that secured the venue, maybe the person that made sure the flyer was designed and printed, made sure that there was a street team that handed all the flyers. I was at all the events where that music would be heard, or the people that go to that music would be there.
In other words, a vehicle to push to, in this case, the CD itself, since we're talking about CDs.
Yes, and so now, even the more advanced promoter would sometimes have the capital to buy advertising time on the radio. I remember in the 80s and 90s, you had Emerald Cities and the brokers and all these different kind of clubs that would buy ad time. I'm talking prime time, not the overnight, which tends to be cheaper. They're paying real money to be advertising in the rush hour, say, because they had a big event that they were throwing together. But today, the promotions job, some people are arguing, especially on social media recently, that the job of the promoter is left to the DJ one too many times, or the artist that's been asked to perform. Do you agree with that?
Okay.
Let's break it down.
When I listen to that, you talk about the promoter. The promoter's job is to promote that very venue. The people that he hires, you would think, would be just as astute in helping to promote, especially if it's a DJ or an artist and the name appears on.
Well, just like we're dealing with counterfeit materials, where it's hard to know real from fake products, and the name of promotion, sometimes you don't know whether someone's a legitimate promoter like we were laying out earlier, or whether they're just posting on social media and kind of that's the whole.
Whether they
job.
bootleg, we gonna say whether they a bootleg promoter. We just put it out there like that.
So yeah, I think that's a legitimate thing. Like, what do we expect? Too many times, I know some promoters will side-eye the DJ that they booked or the artist they booked because they feel like they under-promoted the event that they were about to perform or be a part of. But I always side-eye them back because I feel like it's not my job to promote your event. You're using me to promote the event, so use me. I will post it, etc. But that's not the entirety of promotion, which oftentimes promoters are smaller minded and they think that's the entirety of promotions, and so they get mad at something where the bigger argument is that they're not paying attention to the multi-layers that exist in promotion.
And that's with everybody, again, if you are brought on, I would trust that if I hire you as my DJ, that you're going to promote itself to your fan base. Once again, it's going back to your fan base.
Yes, but if you put the onus on me only...
No, the onus is not on you, and that's where a lot of people make the mistake. Even the onus, while the main onus is on the promoter, but the joint oneness to promote the event as a team effort is important. A lot of DJs just want to show up. A lot of artists, they just want to show up, perform, play, get their money, and dash.
But also, to coin your phrase, the bootleg promoter, so to speak, is undercutting the more larger known or better reputable promoter. So oftentimes the venue or the DJ will hire that person because they need these quick fixes, as opposed to paying the real capital for someone that would look to all the venues, and like I was explaining to you. So I feel like sometimes we're shooting ourselves in the foot. You pay what you what's the word?
You pay for what you get.
Thank you.
But again, you pay for what you get, but it's also, what is it that the promoter wants back? The bottom line the promoter wants to be paid. The promoter wants to get capital back from whatever function that he's doing.
I think the two major takeaways on that is communication. You got to communicate what your roles are going to be throughout the exercise
And what you
of throwing an
expect.
event. The expectation, let's add that in. And a third one I say would be to, maybe that's what it is. Expectation, goal setting. That's what it was.
Well,
Set up the goals. Say legitimately, hey man, we're hoping that if we hire you, you can use your followers. Is that what you're going to do? Please confirm. So that it's clear about what you're doing. So communication. What was the second one? I was saying communication. I was like, look, you have to be clear about what you want. Set the expectation. So that's goal setting.
Well, yeah, that's the first one. Communication. What's your goal, and what's the final outcome? What do you expect from that?
Or
evening?
from hiring me, correct. I think
What do you
that'll make a
expect?
clearer situation.
Because when
Pardon us, but we're trying to really come off the cuff about this because this came up very recently. That's all the time we have. We'll break this down further because I think we're missing some key elements
A whole
here
bunch of key
so
elements.
that we can break down further. Perhaps in a future episode. Stay tuned for that. That's all the time we have, like I said, for the Freedom Radio Hour. Definitely check out EddieNicholas.com, DJAdamCruz.com for all our latest and greatest. Let me just tell you something. Mr. Eddie Nicholas is preparing to release his album entitled Do You Want to Dance? I've been listening to some of your releases again just to get everything together, and it's sounding wonderful.
Because we
proud.
have to have that continuity.
Yes. So we'll break it down more. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for joining us. 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan. www.freedomradiohour.com.
And don't forget DWOWmusicradio.com as well. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace and love.